Since February 2018, the crack team consisting of an old hipster, a rookie, and Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan record from a secret location in the heart of Scotland. Their aim is to try and dissect all things NFL. If you want their opinion, and if you can find them, this is the American Fitbaw Cast.
So hello and welcome to what might or might not be episode 42.
That's why we're going to stop with the numbers, because we got to the state now where it didn't really matter. We're just like, yay, it's another week, here we go.
The podcast that is still here in some shape or form. So as ever, I'm joined with my co-hosts, Andrew and Steve.
And who are you?
I'm Gavin.
Hello.
Formal Sunday name today.
Have you ever seen that video where it's like the school kids playing the Scottish characters and like they're shouting like, I'm William Wallace, I'm Robert the Bruce, and it goes to the little kid and he's like, I'm Brian. I've not seen it. I'll find it and tag you. It's hilarious. Guys, how are you?
Yeah,
All
good.
right.
Yeah.
Just saying before we started, this is probably the most barren spate of NFL news I've ever known of in about the last 10 years. Generally, there always seems to be something happening in every season until this off-season. And for whatever reason, the draft has happened, and that's it. The world is going on shutdown for weeks.
Last month's been really quiet.
Yeah, nothing happening. Nobody's been an idiot and getting arrested. That's usually half of your off-season news. It's quite fun to see what's going on, or...
Not since Zeke.
He got himself in a bit of trouble, isn't he? Now, what's he got himself in trouble with?
He got arrested in a nightclub, didn't he?
For... It wasn't
Was
violence again,
fighting, was it not? It was a bit of fighting.
Was it fighting with blokes this time, or was he hitting wifeys? Because this is where you're getting a real sticky wicket with the NFL.
Let's not get into this.
Yeah, so that happened. Gerald McCoy happened. He could have gone to the Browns. He went to the Panthers. Not to talk about there.
Yeah. Austin Safarian Jenkins or whatever was cut from the Patriots.
Shock.
I just... but it's nothing. It's so boring.
So we've got some sort of rumoured dysfunction at the Redskins. Who knew?
Well, if it's the thing that finally solves your Jay Gruden problem, you'll be happy.
So apparently Trent Williams wants a trade, wants a new deal, wants to be released. So he wants everything.
We don't know.
So
he seems to be fighting with the team doctors, and that's about it.
Yeah. So I'm not too fussed about the things, because if we do trade him, then we will get a decent pick. I would imagine if we release him, we save a decent amount of the cap.
Do you get it first?
Nah.
No.
Maybe
Second?
Second, low second.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've actually done pretty well in the draft recently, so I'm not too fussed about that. And like I said, if he gets released, we save cap space, and if we keep him, we've got a Pro Bowler. So all three outcomes aren't the worst for me, and I'm pretty confident in the Redskins' offensive line coach, Callahan, I want to say his name is, the guy that coached the Cowboys, who started their O-line.
Right.
We drafted a guy in the 3rd round and in the 5th. So obviously they're not going to be starters or as good, but we've got a long-term succession plan there. So I'm not too fussed about that overall. Any thoughts from any of you guys?
Not really, no.
I mean, that pretty much covers it, right?
I do, very succinctly, but fully.
Yeah,
that's it.
Without a Jay Gruden as well.
Yeah. How have you managed it?
I don't know. So that's about it in terms of news. There's the Gronk might come out of retirement. Yawn, don't care.
We called it. We said it at the time.
Yeah, that he would about Thanksgiving or something. He'll roar back into the yet again championship winning Patriots team.
Yeah.
Who cares?
So yeah.
So
I'm surprised he's not signed with the WWE yet, though. I've genuinely thought that's what he was going to go and do. But maybe not. Maybe he just thought, do you know what? I've done 9 years of sports. I've wrecked my body. I'm just going to give me some time off. I've got my money in the bank and do what I want.
I'm going to drink until I die.
Yeah.
So
extreme.
If anyone is going to, it could be him. Yes.
Some lad.
I was going to make a really ill-tasted joke there, but I'm not going to. So
well
done me.
We're getting there. It's only taken us 42 episodes, but we're getting there.
So as we are in this barren spell of NFL neglectness, we opted to do a 2015 draft do-over. So you may have heard our mock draft before, where we went through each team and thought about what players that we're doing. So if you've never heard or read about a mock draft do-over, it's quite a lot of words to try and fit in. Mock draft do-over. We'll look at what was picked, and then we will make Steve, why are you so annoying in podcasts?
I was even sitting quiet, but I've tried to move my computer and this awful creak that I know I'm not going to get out the audio later. Sorry to everyone's ears. I'll stop moving.
So yeah, we'll look at what was drafted, whether we would stick or twist, and we will take it from there. And as ever, we'll just rotate round. And this mock draft over, Steve, you get to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 1, who took Jameis Winston, who was a 2013 Heisman Trophy winner. Take us away. It seems fit naturally, seeing as you have the Jameis Winston scale.
So Winston's still going number 1 here then, is he?
No, don't even get started on this, right? So, 2 tiny caveats to begin with then. So, 1, the draft order is as it was on day 1 of the draft, including all the trades that happened. So, the teams that moved up and down, that's how we set it. We've not gone back to the way it was prior to the draft. Second thing that's quite important is, I certainly haven't gone through team needs. So where there's an obvious need and an obvious like-for-like replacement, we can go with that. But there will be a lot of really random things like, Frank Clark's going to go somewhere in this, don't know which team off the top of the bat, but it could be they were super loaded in defensive end anyway. And in hindsight, I remembered 4 years ago, and I can barely remember 2 days at the minute in my life, they probably wouldn't have actually gone for that need. So there's a little bit of that to kind of just throw in the back here. So
are we doing the whole round 1? Yep. Cool.
Yeah. So, with the first pick of the redo draft, instead of picking Jameis Winston, even though they needed that help, I'm going to give them Todd Gurley.
Makes sense.
Instead of him going at 10 at the Rams, what he's done in his career so far, how he performed, how he would have helped Tampa Bay at that point. They could have sat for a year, got a quarterback the next year. To me, that just seems like a slightly better move.
Makes sense.
They needed the help at the time. They would have had Doug Martin, but he would have...
Yeah, he was on decline, wasn't he?
He might have had that random 4 touchdown game the season prior, but I don't think he was never sold as the guy anyway. So it would have been really easy to pick him and upgrade him. So yeah, Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley. Nice.
We're going to take notes of this somewhere so that we don't...
Yeah, I've got him.
Well, I'm allowed to touch my computer.
As long as you don't bash the keys.
No, this will be interesting.
Yeah, so...
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my god, Steve. Whilst Steve deals with technology, so Todd Gurley's got it 1. Next on the clock was the Tennessee Titans, who picked up Marcus Mariota. They absolutely needed the quarterback, but Mariota's been injured quite a lot over that period, so with the power of hindsight, I would change that pick, and I would have went for Leonard Williams, defensive end, who obviously ended up at the New York Jets at number 5, but in this draft, most people said that he was the best overall player in this draft.
Yeah, so makes a lot of sense.
Just take the best player available.
He was. The fact he fell to 6 was ludicrous at the time. I mean, there's always players every draft that do it, but that one in particular was like how the...
Yeah, I remember watching this draft live, and I remember watching the Redskins on 5 at the time, and we will get to it, but when Brandon Scherf got called, who wasn't even really... He was at a low-end first round.
Actually, I spoke to you.
This is just when we...
The day after, you were like, what the... Yeah! Rage.
Hindsight's
a wonderful thing.
Yeah. So Leonard Williams, number 2, to the Tennessee Titans, which puts the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock, who drafted Dante Fowler. Andrew, you sticking or you twisting?
I'm twisting. Dante Fowler didn't quite work out in Jacksonville, did it?
He got unlucky. He injured himself in his first rookie year. But even when he came back, he just couldn't quite... It just didn't work in that system. Now, he had a couple of really good plays with the Rams as previous, after he was traded. Did they re-up him?
Yeah.
Where did he end up going? Yeah. And so we'll see how that pans out. It might be one of these weird ones where actually a change of scenery helps a player.
Yeah.
Just whether he's going to be worthy of his draft pick is an interesting one.
Yep. So this draft, for the Jags. Sorry, actually, who are you going to pick actually before I get into mine?
So, I think the Jags should have addressed probably receiver at pick 3 in 2015, and I think they would have taken the best receiver in the draft, Stephon Diggs.
Oh!
Stephon Diggs. Very consistent wide receiver. I think
The decision there was between Stephon Diggs and Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper, yes, has had a good year last year once he moved across to Dallas, but I don't think he showed first round talent in Oakland for the however many years previous. So
I think he had one really good
he's
year.
He's flashed it in a lot of
Yeah.
times and a lot of consistent games, but then he disappears for a little bit. Well, I think you're right. I think actually overall,
if you want consistency, I think Stephon Diggs was
So
your guy.
Stephon
at that
Diggs
part.
jumped from round 3 to third overall.
round 5.
It was at 5.
5th round,
Yeah.
which is like in hindsight is an absolute steal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. So, Steve, you're back on the clock. You are Steve Gruden for the Oakland Raiders.
I've just moved this to Canada.
We're now competing in the CFL. So
They're playing a pre-season game in Canada.
They are actually, yes, that was announced.
what
Their
cost?
home game
The
against
Raiders.
Packers.
The Raiders Packers, yeah, is going to play in Winnipeg.
Yes.
Fantastic name of a place, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
So the Oakland Raiders drafted Amari Cooper, who was the 2014 Fred Beltonkoff Award winner. No idea what that is or how much it values, but Amari Cooper went at 4. Steve, stick or twist?
Ooh, let's go. I think I'm going to twist it out. I think I'm going to. I'm scraping through. I always value defensive players more than offensive, which is terrible because I probably shouldn't favour one side of the ball. But I'm actually not. I'm going to stick with
JJ
offense
Watt's not in this
instead
draft,
of-
Steve.
Disaster. Instead of them picking up a wide receiver to help their offense, I'm going to give them a running back to help their offense, and I'm going to bowl David Johnson all the way up.
Oh, well, you've just screwed up mine.
So David Johnson goes 4 to the Oakland Raiders. What makes you pick that, Steve?
So he was the 3rd round pick. It's literally just a whim of. I just think he's better value over his career than what Amari Cooper has shown so far.
Sure.
Okay, he was injured. He had the busted wrist.
Yeah, so even after the last 2 seasons where he's had
Well, it's a bad O-line. And I think technically, so 2016 season in particular, where Carr had an outstanding season, a lot of that was to do with
Donald
the
Penn.
O-line. Yeah, the Raiders O-line.
What was his name? Ochemia.
Osemele.
That was it.
Kalichi Osemele. My goodness, that
Wow.
was a difficult one.
the amount of sounds that came out of you.
It's like a foreign language.
But yeah, those
Having a
two.
meltdown.
Yeah.
Yes, they've actually had a pretty solid O-line for a good number of years,
Yep.
which obviously has been the big problem in Arizona and why David Johnson's not quite well. But when he's got the pieces around him, you know fine, he's going to give you a lot of good value. So I just think that taking him at 4 with the hindsight, but having the better O-line, gives you more in production than what Cooper had. So that's me thinking behind that one.
So I end up at the Washington Redskins, and as I alluded to, I watched this draft, and I remember after it being like, what the hell have the Redskins done? We've drafted an offensive lineman at 5, an offensive tackle at 5, and Brandon Scherf, who I knew pretty much nothing about. He had a low first round grade. I'm sure at that point and was dropping into the second in
I think he
some
was second
drafts.
round, yeah.
So I was like, Jesus Christ, what's Scott McCloughan doing?
Drinking.
Drinking.
Openly.
That was the poor joke I was going to allude to earlier.
Alright, sorry.
Yeah.
No, this
So-
is thinking we were getting better, and I've gone, I'll
He
shut up.
pulled us back down into that vein. This is the first pick that I'm sticking.
Yes.
Brandon Scherf's been a complete success. He has been excellent. He's been Pro Bowl.
He's moved to guard, isn't he? That's
yeah.
where they've put him for his career.
Yep. So he's been absolutely outstanding.
Yep.
And I think that one of the things they talk about in drafts, you don't always need a home run. You just need a guy that's going to get you singles and doubles. That's exactly what Brandon Scherf is. He is not. He's going to give you your singles and your doubles consistently.
Yeah.
So
And probably will do it for another good few years. Yeah.
He's
There's
about
no
to come
sign
into-
of decline.
I think he's in his contract year. So
Yeah, so that's what's interesting, and actually the fact that it was a random year we picked. We wanted something recent, but not too, too recent because you don't know enough about the players, but not too old that because you'd seen their entire career, it gets a lot easier to kind of do. Interestingly, the year that you picked Andrew, this is the year that they've all just started hitting. A lot of them have just started hitting free agency. You know, they're hitting year 4 or they're coming in year 5. So it gives that you've actually got a better idea on the ones that have moved, the ones that have got overpaid. What's actually really quite interesting how it's all shaped out.
So the Redskins, surprisingly, the first team to stick with their pick. Andrew, the New York Jets, who drafted Leonard Williams, who's off the board in our draft.
Yeah.
So you have to change. Where are you going?
I'm going to stick with the same position of defensive end and go with Frank Clark.
Ooh.
I can hear Ham's excitement. That's a nice pick. Frank Clark's obviously just went to the Chiefs, which is going to be awesome to see. He's had an awesome career for the Seahawks.
87 mil or something crazy like that. Some good money. Not bad.
Yeah, he's been
worth it.
I think he was a slow starter in terms of his production, but the last 2 years he's been...
I think that a little bit of the fact because they had Michael Bennett and Cliff Avril, so of course they'd be taking the snaps, and it's just they've just had to rotate him in slowly over time. So he's maybe first year or 2 he had less presence, but he's definitely last 2 seasons totally switched it on and worthy of a starting defensive end.
So happy with that pick, Steve. The Chicago Bears. So I just spoke about singles and doubles. This is an absolute bust.
Is it the worst of the draft? It could well be.
Definitely in the top 10, it's the worst of the draft. Oh, maybe when we get to the Giants.
There's competition.
Yeah,
right enough.
So
there's a couple of stinkers in here. So not quite Ryan Leaf level stink, but it's not far off.
So Kevin White in this draft had a DK Metcalf-esque combine. He ran a ridiculous 40. He benched a whole lot. So Kevin White, he had a lot of hype after his...
Did he get injured in pre-season?
He did.
It was ankle or
something like that.
He had some serious problem. He didn't play at all in his rookie year, did he?
I don't know if he didn't play at all, but
or if not,
he may as well have not played at all, and that's over the last 5 years.
But that's the thing, he's never made it back. He's just... I don't know if it'll take too long to Google, but I'd be lucky if he's got maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns tops, ever.
I want to say he spent time on the Cardinals roster last year. I don't think he
really?
I think so.
Wow.
You're right. He's not.
Didn't make an appearance, but
this actually he's joined the Cardinals this year.
Is he? Right.
Okay.
Enjoy that.
Given what the Cards have done in terms of recruiting wide receivers, I don't think we'll see him make the final. However many.
So while you're looking for his production, Amy, just so we can get that, I'm dead. No brainer. We're getting rid of him. So Chicago Bears, what they've done this season, last season was the Khalil Mack trade. Worked out wonders for them. I'm massively liking defensive players anyway, but I've got a bit of a toss up between who I'm going to go. So the players in the mix, they're all defensive ends. Could have Danielle Hunter, could have Trey Flowers, potentially Zadarius Smith, Grady Jarrett, Bernard McKinney, Preston Smith, and Henry Anderson. No, let's drop them out for now. They might still appear in the first round, but maybe not at 7. Let's go Danielle Hunter. I think out of them, I know Trey Flowers and Zadarius Smith are the ones that just got paid big time, but I want to say production-wise, I think Danielle Hunter's done better. I think it's one of these sneaky ones that's really under the radar. He gets in, he gets on with it. He doesn't have a lot of plaudits in what he does. So Chicago Bears flip round to the defensive side and take Danielle Hunter.
Makes sense. Good pick. He's been pretty much outstanding for the Vikings. I think he just suffers from maybe not the name value of Anthony Barr. And he went in round 3.
Yeah.
So nice one, nice pick there. I like that. So the Bears have Danielle Hunter, which takes us on to the Atlanta Falcons, who Vic Beasley, one of the few defensive ends that I don't think you just mentioned on your list there. I actually like this pick as well. I think Vic Beasley's been. He has had I think he had an up and down season 2 years ago, but I quite like Vic Beasley, and I would stick with this pick again. I don't know if that's just me taking the easy option here with the Falcons, but Vic Beasley stays at 8.
Kind of what you're saying with Sheriff, if you've got someone that's provided good value for your pick, every organisation, they want those types of ones so they can go back and go, that was absolute home run. No problems in having to change that. Because the other thing as well, which is funny, you don't know how other players are going to do in your scheme. So this is the thing that's really interesting. Like, yeah, you could get these players and go to these teams, but would they have done the same in their career? Probably not. So many ifs and buts. And
yeah, so I think Beasley stays where he is. Nice pick. Everyone's a winner. Someone that wasn't a winner, however, was the New York Giants when they picked Eric Flowers, offensive tackle, who I believe, I hope I'm wrong with this, I think he's actually in the Redskins training camp just now.
oh, is he? Oh. Is that
Yeah.
just so they can siphon out some
Let me
Giants
check
knowledge
that,
from him?
actually.
He
Sam
went
on
to the
Yeah, he's at the
Jags?
Redskins. He's at the Redskins. Oh my god.
Where did he go from? He was at Jags. He got a second chance with it. Did Tom Coughlin try and kick the tires on him down in Jacksonville?
Yes,
It makes
that's
me
right.
think that because I know he got somewhere else.
1
after
year,
his disaster.
$4 million contract with the Redskins.
Whoa! What? That's
Let's-
good money for someone who's never really flashed anything.
What we'll do is we'll get rid of Trent Williams.
Oh dear.
Oh my god. Right, sorry, so Eric Flowers, New York Giants. Andrew, what do you think?
So, when considering the Giants pick, the first thing I had to really consider is what approach we're taking to this mock draft. So, there are two approaches you can take. You can take the what should have happened, which is what I'm going to do, or you can take the what would have happened had everything that is now known be done. Now, the Giants, my pick for the Giants at 9 would be Marcus Mariota. Definitive need of quarterback. However, the Giants would definitely have not have made that pick in 2015. They clearly were not moving on from Eli Manning. They're still not moving on from Eli Manning 4 years later, despite the fact that they should have done it half a decade ago. But yeah, my pick's Marcus Mariota on the basis that that's what should have happened, not what would have happened.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think Mario actually suffered from going in and being a starter from day one because he was very much a spread quarterback. So going to the Titans, he got a decent offensive line, but he needed players to be able to support him in his development. He didn't really have that at the Titans, so if you put him with OBJ, etc., I think that
And
would
he's
be
got time to learn the system behind,
Yep.
because he definitely would have been, he would have redshirted his rookie year, no questions asked.
absolutely. Yeah, so I think
whether they would have tried to move Eli on, I think Colts got lucky with Peyton because he injured his neck, which kind of helped them figure
Fast
out what
track,
they're
yeah.
going to do, and for him to
Suck
move
for
on.
luck.
Yeah, he's not going to move of his own accord. I think he might have to get benched.
Yep. So, Steve, you're now on the clock. You're the St. Louis Rams. You opted for Todd Gurley to...
Yeah, so he can no longer go to the Rams. So this is where we start getting a bit more interesting about where do you shift it and who do you do and why. So I think for ease of now, we're going to stick with running back because I'm assuming they needed that. But they're going to take Melvin Gordon
Okay.
instead. He was the second running back taken off the board that year instead of being at the Chargers 15.
He'd be on the other side of LA.
Yeah, we still ended up in the same city.
Kev's going to be raging.
And so just picking up Melvin Gordon. Statistically, he hasn't quite had the sort of home runs or the presence of what Gurley's had, but if you just weigh up the numbers, the production, how many touchdowns he's got, he's a couple of really, really good
He's
years.
a volume running back, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not a...
Not
you need
a
to give
home
him,
run,
20, 25 carries a game
yeah,
to get the best
he'll
out of
get
him.
stuff for you done, and he'll definitely goal line. He'll punch them in easy peasy. So
So,
so that's I think the Rams will.
LA Confidential. So the Minnesota Vikings are now on the clock, who drafted Trey Wayne's cornerback from Michigan State. I think at this point you're still drafting in the secondary. So I actually went for Lyle Collins, who went to the Dallas Cowboys. Late in round 1, I believe. Or round 2, sorry. Why am I...
Lyle Collins, tackle.
Oh, tackle, sorry.
That's the only thing
Start
you can
again.
with.
Start
Right.
again. I was thinking of Byron Jones in my head there, but
Yes.
Collins, the Vikings' offensive line has been crap for a long time.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins last season, we've seen he really struggled at points, so you got to give him some protection. So Collins to beef up the O-line.
And he was an undrafted free agent, is that right?
Oh, was he? I
But
pretty much got
why?
all that
Do you
wrong.
remember what we were looking at yesterday?
So, he was a first round talent.
Yep.
And then just before the draft, he got caught up in a murder investigation.
Wowzer.
And he slid all the way off the board.
They probably would have mentioned it on the broadcast that you were watching the first round, because had he not been involved in this murder investigation, I'm convinced he was getting taken off the board in round 1 somewhere. It may not have been at the top, it may have been towards the bottom, but I'm convinced he's getting picked up in round 1. He was picked up in the supplemental draft, was he not? You know how they have this weird supplemental draft option that they've got in sometime in August, I want to say it is, and you can use a pick in a future year and take somebody instead. Hardly anyone really gets picked up in it. Terrell Pryor at Oakland was an example.
It's a couple of players each year. It's
it's undrafted free agent. I'm talking shit. Anyway. Swear jar.
You're doing really well there.
Right, okay.
Okay.
So the Browns are on the board, who drafted defensive tackle Danny Shelton, Andrew Sticker
Twist, and we go to the secondary, and we're going to actually pick someone in the secondary with this pick. And we're going to go with Marcus Peters, cornerback. I think is the pick for Cleveland.
Makes sense. Imagine him on one side, Denzel Ward on the other. Oof.
He would outstayed his welcome in Cleveland, I don't think. Well, Dorsey obviously was his GM that drafted him. So, okay, right, hold on. This is getting an interesting one. We don't have time.
Imagine how fun he would be in Greg Williams' defense.
Oh, because he would have been up for whatever money was flying around whatever week. Speculation doesn't actually happen. Do not say me.
It did happen. It did happen in New Orleans though. So
nice segue. We're on to 13. I
love it.
Who drafted defensive tackle?
And this is where I started getting really confused with whether a sticker twist or whatnot. This is the amount of prep that I've done, as you can tell. Right,
to say that, Steve.
So
we're a professional podcast.
Yeah. So the bit that surprised me the most was Pete actually has made the Pro Bowl. I had not even realised that. So he's obviously kind of close to the Brandon Scherf, absolute grader, just gets on with his job, doesn't have the hype about him. So I was kind of in two minds whether we stick with this or, because I like doing that, do the Saints, who at the time were okay in offense but struggling in defense, load up the defense. Because it's only been the last couple of years they've really got their act together on the defensive side, and because of that have now got back to challenging for the Super Bowl consistently. So I am going to switch it regardless of that, because then it might have given them the chance to get the Super Bowl quicker if they fix the defense. Who I'm going to get them, and just hope that it works out, all things being considered, is Trey Flowers.
Okay.
Steve with a defensive pick. Who'd have thought it?
I know, nothing if not predictable.
In his head he's thinking JJ Watt.
Yeah, it's only about 4 years too late for him. He would have been a hero in New Orleans though. Think of the stuff he's done for Houston, right? Him and Drew Brees, the two of them, that Louisiana community, shut. So, to an organisation that has no love, the Miami Dolphins. Their own owner doesn't even love them.
Stephen Ross pretty much hates them. I think even Dan Marino hates them.
They still get the Super Bowl every 3 years. It's entertaining.
So they drafted Devontae Parker, who's been all but a bust. I think every year people have hope for him to turn it around, and every year he disappoints. So they absolutely move on. And what I've got the Dolphins doing is taking second round pick Landon Collins, who went to the New York Giants and now with my beloved Redskins. Collins shows up that secondary and can do all sorts blitzing as well. So against Tom Brady, I think that would be a nice move. Landon Collins, ladies and gentlemen. So, Andrew, you're on to Kev's San Diego Chargers at the point, pre-move. So they'd obviously drafted Melvin Gordon, who...
San Diego! I can say it and not get it wrong!
San Diego.
The San Diego Chargers. This is a tough one. Right, okay. I'm struggling here, I have to say. What do the San Diego Chargers need? What did they need? So, as we said, they drafted Melvin Gordon.
He's gone now, board.
And he's gone on our board. There are no other running backs worthy of the first round, I don't think.
I really appreciate the pace of all the words that you're saying right now.
It's the tick.
You're doing better than me. I can't do two things at once.
Yeah. The only running back that would even be in contention would be JJ, but he's not going to go that far up. Maybe secondary. Yeah, we'll go secondary. Adrian Amos.
Who went to the Chicago Bears.
Yep.
Yeah, but we didn't
went down in the fifth
He's
round.
obviously done really well. He's just gone to the Packers, isn't he? The Packers
That's right.
have stolen him off him, in free agency. So works for him. If you think about what they did last year with... Oh, I forgot his name. Do you know when you get the name and just... Anyway, the rookie came out. They got him at pick 17. He should have gone at pick 7 to Tampa Bay last year's draft. Oh, I totally forget his name. Right, anyway, it doesn't matter. That kid. You've just recreated this
Are you
4
talking
years
about the
ago.
Bears or the Packers? Who are you talking about?
San Diego. San Diego.
Oh, you
pick
talked about
17. The Pro Bowl safety.
James.
Oh, is that his name?
James, the safety. Derwin James.
Yes! That's it! Anyway, sorry.
And what was the purpose of you saying that?
Well, they could have done the same with getting
Oh, right,
back
right,
then. And
okay.
put him in. He would have been alongside Weddle. The two of them would have been an
Okay.
absolute powerhouse
Okay.
back end.
So, Steve, you get to pick your beloved Houston Texans next.
Woo!
You drafted cornerback Kevin Johnson.
Now, actually, that's not been a bad pick for them. He's done really good. Yeah, okay, he's got moved on. It's one of these. I think it's one of these weird ones. You get players that are easily upped in their second contract, and there's a small bubble where, like the ones that hit free agency, as Jeff has said on several occasions, and I think he said to us as well.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they're maybe not quite worth what the market will pay them. They've all got a little something wrong with them. What is that? Not, etc.
Okay.
But it's whether he... Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. What are we talking? 216. Oh, do you know what? No, I've got it. Right. They're going to take Arik Armstead instead, who ends up going to the 49ers a pick later. Because then you're going to load up. You've got JJ Watt in your defence anyway. Clowney was the year after this?
Yep.
Yep. So they're going to, of course, they're going to suck. They're going to get Clowney as well.
Brian Cushion was there when he was still
Oh,
feasible.
yes. Oh, I'm so excited. Yes. Arik Armstead goes to the Texans.
Wow.
Yeah, Steve, you definitely got too excited there. So the San Francisco 49ers, who, as you alluded to there, Steve, picked next, and they picked Arik Armstead, who you've just stolen, which means that we are in a sticky wicket.
Interestingly, if I'd not stolen, would you have probably just got them to stick that?
Well, I had Hunter.
Oh,
as
did I
a
have it
replacement,
right?
but he's off our board
He's
as well.
Yeah.
So on that premise, I'm saying that we stick again. Oh no, we can't. Arik Armstead. Oh, why am I incapable of thinking? So yeah, I am going to say that we take Preston Smith, who is another defensive end who went to the Redskins and has just joined the Green Bay Packers. A very, again, singles, doubles, pretty consistent. Not overly flashy, but does his job pretty well. So Preston Smith to the 49ers and works with Kyle Shanahan again.
So that takes us on to 18, the Kansas City Chiefs, who took Marcus Peters. Obviously, he's off our board. He's already gone. Again, I'm going to stick with cornerback. And the cornerback that was taken number 11 in this draft, Trey Waynes, who was taken by the Minnesota Vikings, end up in Kansas City instead.
Makes sense?
The only potential challenger for that I would maybe throw in the mix would be Ronald Darby.
Yeah. If
He
he
was
never got his
second
bad
rounder.
injury, I think he would have...
Yeah. So it's just the by the by, but yeah, you can't say against that. And actually, you probably would have done really well at the Chiefs. If you get somebody who's produced very well at pick 11, you've got them at pick 18. It's a bit of a no-brainer.
The running order of this draft worked out pretty well for us in terms of... so Andrew, you getting your Cardinals, I got my Redskins, Steve, you managed to get the Browns and the Texans. So Steve, where are you going with the Cleveland Browns?
Well, not Cameron Irving, I'm afraid. He's
Ooh.
getting switched out. Is he even still on the roster? I don't even know.
I don't know if he's done as bad as you're...
Making out to be, yeah. But I was sad that they moved on from Alex Mack. I think that was the big problem.
Yeah, that was it.
Because when they had him and superstar Joe Thomas, it was like they had two massive pieces in the O-line, and all they were needing was the quarterback to get them over the edge. If you think of the roster now, if they had those two players, not that you probably wouldn't
Cameron Ervin is the starting left guard for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's where he's at right now. Yep. So, sorry, just I just had to throw it.
Yeah, that's fine. So he obviously didn't cut it in Cleveland enough anyway, the fact that they wanted to move him on. They did have a couple of really bad years of draft, and what was it like? Basically everyone in the 15-16 draft, hardly any of them were still on the roster by the end of 2018 or something. It's crazy. Anyway, so we're switching out. Who are we going to put in though? So, do you know what? I think we're going to switch in Mitch Morse.
Yep.
Into Cleveland's O-line instead. Still addressed as O-line help that he would have needed well at the time. But instead of Irving, who didn't quite pan out very well, put in Mitch Morse. Mitch Morse moved to centre. He was drafted as a guard.
Yep.
But yeah, he's centre for Bills. Pick him up now. Was that who it was? He was Kansas City. This offseason. Yeah. Aye, so Mitch Morse. Yeah, which would have fixed their Alex Mack pivot problem for the next decade anyway. So. Yeah,
I like it. So that takes us to Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles. Philly special. I wonder how many more they could have got if they never drafted Nelson Aguilar. To be fair, he has actually not been that bad.
Are you sticking or twisting?
So Aguilar goes, and I thought about defensive end here because they've taken a couple of veterans at this position and sort of rotated them. But I'm going to change my mind here, and I'm going to give them a running back that they could be their number one running back, because that's been an issue for them, rotating between guys like Wendell Smallwood, etc., etc. So I give them Tevin Coleman, who went in the third round, and I think if he went somewhere like that, he would be the number one hands down, because I think he's a really good running back. He's just been unlucky with Devontae Freeman.
Yes, he suffered from being the second guy in a very close 1-2 partnership rather than the de facto guy. And if he got that opportunity, he would. Yeah, I totally.
I think he might suffer from that again in San Francisco with Jerick McKinnon and Matt Breida. So that's a big committee of decent people. Yeah. So Tevin Coleman to the Philadelphia Eagles. So Andrew, the Cincinnati Bengals, you get to be our Marvin Lewis. Please don't be Marvin Lewis.
They took Cedric Ogbui.
I don't even know who that is.
Okay. So offensive tackle, I'm going to stick with offensive tackle. Someone that went down in the 7th round, Trenton Brown. However you want to say.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick. So moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who took Bud Dupree, who by all accounts has been pretty serviceable. Steve, you sticking or twisting?
I'm going to twist only because Quan Alexander is still about. He was picked up in the 4th round this year.
Yep.
And I'm just thinking if I put two of them side by side based on what they've done, I think if the Steelers had Quan Alexander's production at his height, particularly like 2 seasons ago, I think he had an absolute pretty really dominating season. I just think because the defense was so good, he could have done just a little bit better than what he was unlucky with, and how he shook out down in Tampa. So, so still linebacker, but Quan Alexander instead.
Quan Alexander, like it. So we then move on to the Denver Broncos. Who was this the year after they won the Super Bowl?
2 years after.
2 years after, was it?
I don't know. Can't remember.
No. It was either the year they won it or the year after they won it. Because, they would have been picked 31 unless they moved. I didn't get the draft order. Did they move up?
They traded with Detroit. So when did Detroit draft them?
Right, that explains, because when I was looking at this draft, I was like, no way did Detroit do that.
Nah, they didn't. They finished. They got 28. So
the year before they won it.
So they were 28.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were in the championship.
So they won it. So they drafted Shane Ray, who's not really been that successful, and I don't know how much he played in terms of them winning the Super Bowl.
He was totally a bit part player in his rookie season.
So I am going to give them some more defensive help. A guy that went to the Minnesota Vikings, and Eric Kendricks. I think you get him and Von Miller working together. That's pretty cushy. I like that. I think that's going to cause some more troubles than Shane Ray did anyway. The Denver Broncos have Eric Kendricks. And Andrew, you get to be Steve Kime. How does that make you feel?
I resign.
So the drafted DJ Humphries, offensive tackle.
Yeah, so there's actually justification in sticking with that one.
He's not been the worst.
Yeah, he's not been bad. I mean, I'm just looking at your
Pete
prep,
Solomon.
and you had him still going in the first round as well.
Yep.
So yeah, you've got Pete on the board. You've got Cam Irving, as we've just spoken about as well.
I forgot about Pete.
Let's go Pete. Andrews Pete.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. I quite like it. He was didn't Andres Pete break the combine record in the bench press? I seem to have a record for O-line, but I'm sure he was. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll not worry about that too much.
So, Carolina Panthers.
Reminiscing about things that happened years ago that I may or may not remember to the fondest degree.
So we're nearly finished. We're on pick 25, the Carolina Panthers, who took linebacker Shaq Thompson. Steve.
So gut feeling, I was trying to think whether how good he's been, and whether he's just hidden by how amazing Luke Kuechly is, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that he is a solid number 2, but well, no, because he was the guy that just traded this, not San Diego, they're in LA now, Chargers, the vet boy, Thomas Davis.
Yep.
As it. So it was always Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly that was a solid 1-2, and Shaq Thompson was then the third wheel to try and bring in. So the only other thing I'm thinking then is that back then, Panthers were pretty solid. Obviously, had Cam in place, things were going quite well. They were in challenging every season. Just needed a bit of help on maybe in cornerbacks. So Ronald Darby's in consideration, but
Josh Norman's.
is he going this year or
Yeah,
I don't know? It's
year
year
after.
after. So you would have to want to. I can't remember who their second. Was it Captain Munnerlyn that was playing back then? So it was alright enough. So I suppose in hindsight you could say that was an upgrade, but based on who's still out there that got picked in lower rounds, I think who makes the jump now and it works brilliant for their system is Grady Jarrett.
Yeah,
I think he was a 5th rounder, so
he's
Atlanta's
an
done
absolute
brilliant.
monster for the Falcons.
And if it wasn't this year. Oh, again, I forgot his name. God, I'm going to have to shut up. This is terrible. As soon as I get an idea, they got a Star Lutalele, that's it. I think it was a year before this. It was maybe a year before this, picked Star Lutalele up with about a 5th or 6th pick or something, quite high. So this would then replace him because he obviously never quite panned out. So Grady Jarrett.
So that takes me to the Baltimore Ravens, who we spoke about busts. I'll give you another one, Rashad Perriman.
Dear.
Yes.
Stinky. Is he gone up to the Bills though?
Yes, he was also at the Redskins for a while, which was nice, like a little flyer on these sort of people. So the Ravens, we scrap that. We load up more in our defence. Steve, I'm sure you'll appreciate this, but linebacker Bud Dupree, who's been pretty successful for the Steelers, he goes to the Ravens in the division.
Oh, the arch nemesis. Him alongside CJ Mosley. Would he been there at the time?
Yeah. Yep.
He just came out. His rookie year must have been the year before then.
Yep. So you've got that defence.
And learning behind Ray Lewis, because Ray Lewis was still on the roster.
Imagine rotating that.
Love it.
Yeah. So Bud Dupree at pick 26, which takes us to the Dallas Cowboys, who took Byron Jones, cornerback.
They stick with Byron Jones.
That's an easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They needed the secondary help. They still need the secondary help. Jones stays where he is. So. Steve, you get to be. I suppose you.
Lions.
You're only missing a pencil behind your ear for your Matt Patricia impression.
I've got the kind of awful hair and general size thing.
Said nothing.
So Laken Tomlinson. Now this is a name that hasn't jumped out to me when I was looking back and going, oh yeah, he's a superstar. I can barely recall him. So I don't even know if he's still on the roster.
Yeah, he is.
Is he serviceable? Does anybody know?
I'm sure he's still. Laken Tomlinson.
He really is quiet. Who's he got? Glasgow?
Oh wait, no, maybe he's not still on the roster. Oh wait, Laken Tomlinson. San Francisco 49ers. They let him go after 2 years.
Oh, is that right?
He's just had
that bit of knowledge has just helped switch my mind then. Because originally I was thinking probably just stick because they definitely needed the help there. But looking at who else was about there, I didn't know if they had anyone else that could kind of fill in the slot. Because he's only lasted the 2 years. I'm now thinking, well, he's out. We're going to jump in Bernardrick McKinney, defensive end. However, I think based on what he's done in Houston, worthy of a first round pick rather than the second round he was picked up in. You know, I mean, he still would have been a high second round anyway. He wasn't far out of the first round. And production wise, with what he's done with the year that JJ Watt got injured, he stepped up alongside Clowney.
Which takes me to the Indianapolis Colts, who drafted another bust in Philip Dorsett.
You get all the busts, aren't you?
I know, I'm doing pretty well.
Stick for the first two and then...
Yeah, I've been twist pretty much since. I make a change and we start to address our O-line early, and we take in Rob Havenstein, who's been outstanding for the Rams. I want to say he's a Pro Bowler, and he's a starting offensive lineman for the Rams. So I take him to start protecting Andrew Luck a little bit earlier than they did, to beef up that defence. Havenstein went in round 2, and yeah, oh no, he's not a Pro Bowler. I lied. Sorry, guys. So, Rob Havenstein, which takes us on to
Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay.
Took
Andrew.
Demarius Randall. And now we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here as to who we want to take.
Landon Collins is already off the board.
Yep.
We jumped him up.
Yeah.
So secondary help, you've got Ronald Darby still kicking around. That's the only other person I think that we've got
Yeah.
that ended up with, inverted commas, serviceable career or better.
Mm-hmm.
If you were sticking in the same position or same area, or you just completely flip it, give them Zadarius Smith, who they got now in free agency. We needed the help at that time.
Amari Cooper, is he still on our board?
Oh, jeez, that's a point.
because we skipped him and never went back.
Oh, yes.
We did.
Do you give him Aaron Rodgers to help him develop?
Well, they took Ty Montgomery later in this draft, didn't they? Is that right?
Yeah.
And he was a wide receiver at the point of the draft and switched to running back, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, Amari Cooper's the guy to go to Green Bay.
You're welcome.
I like it. So New Orleans Saints. So I said, you know what? Who got picked first this year? Hasn't been picked up yet. Who's my guy? Who's definitely not 28th in the quarterback rankings?
James Winston.
However, no, I'm not going to go with him. So, but when we were talking about jumping back to the top of the draft, we realised we haven't slotted him anywhere else. And actually, maybe at the time, without the hindsight, if the Saints weren't needing the help, and they maybe were thinking succession mode, they could have gone down that route and put him in for a year and figured out what was happening.
I think Winston and Mariota are the same. They would have done better if they got to sit for a year rather than start.
Yeah. You switched out DJ Humphries from the Cards, did you? In the end? Yeah, I'm trying to pay attention.
Yes.
Still got DJ
In
Humphries.
which case, because Humphries is still about, and I give him to the Saints to help on their O-line, because we obviously don't have Pete from the first pick. They still get their O-line help though in first round of this year. So we switched him for DJ Humphries.
Nice. Which takes me to my arch nemesis, the New England Patriots.
That's everyone's arch nemesis, apart from Donny.
I thought
he just runs around the office gloating. And to be fair, if I supported a team and they did that well, that consistently, I'd probably buzz around an office with a big massive beaming smile on my face as well.
I thought maybe what I could do here is I could give them an absolute bust like Kevin White, but then I thought, knowing Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, Kevin White would go on to be the best wide receiver of all time.
Well, we did allude to that earlier on about people in different schemes and how do they perform. Do you know what? It's maybe not the worst thing because he might not have gone in. He might not have started at day one. He might not get injured pre-season. There's so many ifs and buts.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then also thought maybe what I could do is I could give them. We'll trade our first round for a 7th round pick just to fuck with them, but then they'd still manage to hit on the 7th round. So it was really annoying having to pick for them. But what I did give them was David Irving, who is defensive tackle from, at the time he went to the Chiefs and then to the Cowboys. Irving had all sorts of character issues going into this draft, and there was a whole load of concerns about him as a person, and there still is.
But he's suspended again, is he?
Yep.
Is he even going
Did
to
they not say he retired?
I was going to say, I think this is he's at least a year out now, and if he comes back, it's going to be really difficult.
He was facing an indefinite suspension,
Right.
and he retired.
Yeah.
But his career could have been so much different if he had the culture of the Patriots.
No
So, and his production has been really
in
good.
hindsight, if you take out the fact that, and I don't think it's a slight on the Cowboys, but I think it's something that they have had a problem with in the past.
Oh, yeah.
They get faulty character players, but they can't fix them.
Yep.
They just carry on to be arseholes.
But they think they can fix them. That's the thing. They think that
Jerry's like, you're going to come to the Star, I've built this £1 billion everything, and you're going to love life in Dallas, and they just go, hey, party world, they get all their money, and they go mental.
Yep. And imagine trying to get Jason Garrett trying to tell you off, you'd be like, shut up.
Yeah.
To the New York Giants, who picked 33, so we all end up on the same amount of picks. Andrew, Landon Collins is gone. So where are you going?
I mean, just because
Winston.
we're only doing the first round, really, and this is the second round pick, and the Giants took Marcus Mariota earlier in this draft.
Oh, you can't go Jameis Winston, damn it.
But because it's the Giants, it would be such a Giants thing to do to then take Jameis Winston as well.
Double down.
So just for laughs, and because it doesn't really matter, because it's a round one redo, I'm going to put Jameis Winston in there.
Jim, they could have got either of them, or no, they wouldn't, because they would have still been with Eli now.
Yeah.
They would
have both been cut.
Yeah. What was his name again? What was the head coach called after Tom Coughlin?
Ben McAdoo.
Ben McAdoo.
Yeah. I wonder what he would have done with 3 quarterbacks. Nothing is the answer. Anyway, so that concludes our 2015 mock draft redo. We hope you've appreciated listening to us. You can find us on all sorts of social media outlets, such as...
Find us at the AFcast on Twitter, search the American Fitbaw Cast on Facebook.
You would have thought that was planned. We've done that pretty well there. Well done us. Probably the only good thing in this episode.
Used to have got this locked down. I'm going to leave you to the keys to that forevermore.
Steve, you want anything to sign off with?
Nope.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I mean, anything would have helped, Steve.
Oh, Jesus. Maybe next week.
Thanks to all the guys in the NFL group chats that are going on.
And on that front, actually, one of another podcast based this side of the border, the Full 10 Yards, Tim asked us if we would give a shout out to his team who are looking for players. If you want to give the game a try and you are sort of south of Perth, head to the Dunfermline, are they the Kings? The Knights? I can't even remember the team there. There's an American football team in Dunfermline. Tim plays for them. Have a look for the Full 10 Yards on Twitter and I'm sure he'll be plugging them there. Bye now.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.